Okay, welcome everybody. Today we have an interview with Elijah Wee, who's a PhD student at the Robert H. Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland. And Elijah is actually the winner of the AOM OB Division Best Paper Award for 2016. And we are delighted to have you here today, Elijah.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share our research. My co-authors and I are honored by this award, and we'd like to thank the award committees for their time in reviewing the submission. I would like to acknowledge the works by my co-author, Relly and Jenny. They helped to push the idea forward, and I couldn't imagine working on this project without them. So our research is motivated by a question. So when does status mobility in group happen? The status literature acknowledges that status can change and has recently started to examine the consequences of status change in groups. But we still don't really know how and why changes in status hierarchy can happen. So our starting point is that groups are not insulated from change and adaptations. For example, a change in a business strategy will bring about a drastic change to groups' task or goal. So we refer to these events as jolts. So they disrupt the normal functioning of the group, and they encourage group members to consider the potential change of the group and its internal processes. So these jolts often present new information that violates the existing expectations group members have for one another. And as a result, they may encourage the group members to reevaluate the legitimacy of the group hierarchy. So our central thesis is that these jolts to the group may trigger status mobility differently for high and low status group members. So to test our theory, we had this unique opportunity to conduct a quasi-experiment with an organization that is currently undergoing a change in strategy. So we are able to capture a naturally occurring jolt and observe its effects in both experimental and control conditions. So there are three key findings that I would like to share. So first, high status group members were more likely to perceive the jolt as a status mobility threat and engage in more dominant status driving behaviors. Two, low status members were more likely to perceive the jolt as a status mobility opportunity and engage in more prestige status driving behaviors. And three, after a jolt, group members were more likely to confer status to those who show prestige rather than dominant status driving behaviors. So these findings on the whole provide an interesting narrative. So jolt influenced status mobility in groups by promoting high status group members to engage in what becomes a strategy that's not conducive to maintaining their status in a post-jolt environment. And at the same time, it promotes low status group members to engage in what becomes a successful strategy to increase their status in a post-jolt environment. So in terms of theoretical contribution, we not only identify important contextual factors that may disrupt the existing hierarchy, but we also explain the mechanism through which status mobility in established hierarchies may occur.
Thank you so much for describing this main findings of your study. That is really interesting, and it sounds like you had a really unique sample. Are you able to discuss just some practical implications of your paper as they apply to practitioners?
Absolutely. There are two broad implications that we can think of. One is that the management should be aware of this status mobility dynamics. So if management knows that a jolt to a group is going to occur, rather than having their star performers, which usually is individual, we have high status in the group, engage in self-defeating behaviors, they should find ways to reframe the event as an opportunity rather than a threat for these individuals. So the other implication is in terms of looking at it at the employee level. So employees that should be aware of these dynamics, and especially for high status, individuals, so that they might be able to shy away from these behaviors that would be self-defeating and that will lower their perceived status in groups, and instead engage in behaviors that are suitable and appreciated by group members in these times of change.
I think those recommendations that you mentioned are really important for organizations, especially as change occurs across many levels and across multiple industries. So thank you very much for sharing your project with us and your results. And congratulations again on winning the 2016 Best OB Paper Award. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.